Hello and welcome to Down to Earth. Our question this week is another great one from one of our viewers, and it is what to do with an extremely overgrown hedge of shrubs. This can be very common, and it can be a very challenging situation to deal with if you haven't pruned your shrubs regularly. Very common shrubs in our landscapes are Elaeagnus, Photinia, Pittosporum, and Ligustrum. So these are often planted as hedges and can be challenges to deal with. But you don't want to hedge your Texas sages and other native plants that are being planted as hedges now in our landscapes, because those plants are not true hedges and they don't respond well to that pruning. With any plant that you're trying to prune, try not to remove more than 1/3 of that plant at a time. It does shock the plant when you prune it back very hard, unless it's dormant and it goes dormant to the roots, and then you would prune it back harder. These hedge shrubs can get often as tall as your house, but maybe you want it only 3 feet tall. So that's a problem. If you've planted it too close to your house or them too close together, you'll need to clean them out or remove some of them to get some air circulation in there and to keep them the height that you want. These plants are actively growing now, but it's still okay to prune them. Plants do respond to pruning by growing and breaking bud, especially hedges like this. These do require regular pruning, as I said, so you want to keep them in shape all season long rather than getting things out of control. Most have been planted too close to the house because, as I said, they are young when they're very small when they're young, and if they get this large, they can serve as a hiding place for animals and even burglars. So it's a situation you want to be very careful of. Our plant this week is Mexican olive, also known as Texas wild olive, Cordia boissieri. This plant is not related to the true olive, but it does produce edible fruit. Although I haven't eaten them, I heard they're not very tasty. This is a beautiful ornamental shrub and can also be trained as a small tree. It gets about 15 feet tall or a little taller and about 10 feet wide, so give it lots of width. If it's left alone, it will be very shrubby with a nice weepy habit that looks really nice in your landscape. This plant is native to South Texas, and so it might not be as hardy as you would think. It's listed as hardy to 20 degrees though. If you plant it on the south or west side of your home, it will likely make it through a winter even as harsh as the one we just had. This plant does need full sun to perform well, and it prefers well-drained soil, although it will tolerate some heavy clay in our soil as well. It's normally evergreen, which makes it great through our winters. It has a rather large, soft green fuzzy leaf, which makes it a nice textural element in our landscapes. It has huge, gorgeous white trumpet-shaped flowers, and it does flower continuously through late winter all the way through late summer. It attracts hummingbirds and butterflies, which many people are looking for now in their landscape. The fruit can be a little messy, and so watch if you plant it near a patio or a sidewalk and stay on top of those fruits so that it doesn't mess up your landscape. This plant does not respond well to being overwatered, which makes it great for drought-tolerant landscapes, but just be careful, especially if you have a heavy clay soil. To do in your garden this week, you want to finish up putting any vegetable transplants in. We are starting to get very warm, and summer will be here before we know it in our environment, if not on our calendars. You also want to go ahead and fertilize your roses again before it gets too hot as well. This would help them flower again for you through the summer and even through the fall next year. We'd love to hear from you, so send us your question or plant of the week from your garden. Just visit klru.org/ctg.